Brando. Senator Welch.
Well, thank you all very, very much, each of you, and we're all horrified at what happened to you, Ms. Gibson Brown. Let me just ask a question, Mr. Schwank. With respect to that attack on the home of Ms. Gibson Brown, aside from the warrant question, why in the world, and in what world, did we need a force with automatic rifles, combat fatigues, helmets, the whole military operation? What part of Homeland Security requires that to go to this woman's home?
Thank you, Senator. I can address that question to some degree. Part of that I have to defer on because I believe it might reveal tactical practices of the agency, and I don't feel comfortable disclosing that. But to what I can address is that those officers in that situation, regardless of how they show up to the scene, however they're dressed, whatever equipment they're carrying, are supposed to know their constitutional law, their understanding of what their authority is well enough that regardless of whatever orders they received before they showed up.
Let me interrupt for a second. I get that. I'm just shocked that you would have that level of force to show up at this woman's home. I mean, my view of that, it's intended to intimidate not just Ms. Gibson Brown and terrorize her family and her children. It's intimidating to everybody in this country to see that level of force. How about you, Mr. Vanel? Thank you so much, by the way. The deep state, I just laughed when I heard that. Because, you know, my sense of what you do and your colleagues and people who've been career prosecutors, suggests a commitment to the Constitution, a commitment to professionalism, a commitment to duty. If that's the deep state, that's a pretty good state to be in. I want to express my gratitude for the work you are doing and your colleagues. But what about this question of having a decision made by a superior to deploy people in combat gear, automatic rifles, to go out to a citizen's home? I mean, leave the warrant part of it alone. With or without a warrant, I'm shocked that that is what you had to arrive home to.
Well, I share your reaction to it as kind of wildly over the top. I mean, why you need to dress like you're invading Iraq in order to go apprehend somebody who is not a fugitive. I mean, I think that's the point that gets lost a little bit is, yes, there may be some probable cause that somebody is removable, right, but a warrant is usually something for somebody who is a fugitive.
Right.
As I understand, you know, Mr. Gibson's situation, he had removal orders. He received a removal order in 2009, and he'd been checking in regularly, right, as he was supposed to, including right up, you know, shortly before this.
That's a discretionary decision by somebody higher up in the chain that sent these officers out in that way, right?
Yes, it was not a judicial officer. It was somebody, their supervisor, right, in the field office.
Yeah, and it's part of the Kristi Noem terror campaign against Americans.
Right. I would also just note that to the extent that ICE at least purports to want to have a strong partnership with state and locals and would like to improve their reputation in the communities that they say they're trying to protect and serve, this strikes me as an extremely, shall we say, odd way to build trust and credibility with either the people of the community or the state and locals.
How about counterproductive?
They're probably much stronger words that could be, at a minimum, odd and counterproductive.
Let me ask both of you, is there any justifiable reason, any justifiable law enforcement reason that the standards of training and safety and policing that apply to the Burlington, Vermont Police Force, to the Vermont State Police Force, to police forces in all our jurisdictions in the country should not apply to ICE? Mr. Schwank.
Thank you, Senator. And my answer to your question is no. At a root level, all law enforcement should be trained to a minimum standard to understand when they can and cannot enter a home, when they can and cannot use force, when they can and cannot make an arrest. And this was the point I was approaching earlier, Senator. is that regardless of how they showed up at the scene, regardless of how they were told to dress when they came there or what they were told to carry, every one of those officers was supposed to know what they were allowed to do under the Constitution. And that was the point of the training program, is to teach them to know that and to know it well enough that even if they got an order that was unlawful, they would know not to follow it.
Thank you. Thank you. My time is up. Thank you very much.